Greetings, good people. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mindfully Fit on YouTube. My name is Troy Devlin. I'm an integrative nutrition health coach. I specialize in weight loss and men's health. In today's video, I'm going to try to provide you some value if you are maybe in a situation where you've been struggling to lose some weight. Many of us have been there. And the very first thing that I would ask is that if this type of thing interests you, that you subscribe to my channel. The button's right there somewhere. Just smash it for me real quick. And it really helps me out. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it means the world to me. Now, weight loss. The invitation, especially men, but everyone really, is to wrap your head around the idea that we may be operating in the world with something called an ego that is protecting us, right? We all have, I guess, a vision of ourself that we protect with something called an ego. Now, sometimes the ego can prevent new information from getting in. Here's what I want you to examine in your world. I bet if you were to write down some things that you eat every single day, and you took a look at that, I guess just take mental inventory right now in your mind's eye. Is there anything that you're noticing that really doesn't support your weight loss goals, yet you're eating it anyway? Many of us are pretty good at spotting these things. We know what they are, but we're not really so good at explaining why we're doing it, right? Like if you explain that to yourself, why you're doing this, there's going to be some type of story there. Now, I would be willing to bet that what's occurring in this situation is actually you're eating your feelings, emotional eating. Guys, hey, you can still be a manly man and admit the fact that that your emotions can influence your decisions. So now, I feel like if we just acknowledge that, then like forewarned is forearmed. So moving forward, when you can identify the fact that maybe you're eating to satisfy an emotional need as opposed to actual hunger, what I would invite you to do is just take a step back, take a little tactical pause there in that moment. And interesting tip, a lot of people will say, hey, if, let's say you're feeling hungry, right? If you're so hungry that you would eat some celery, then maybe, or whatever your celery is. Like for me, it's cottage cheese. I don't particularly prefer cottage cheese, but if I'm actually hungry, I'll eat some cottage cheese. For a lot of people, that's celery. Some people, it's an apple. But what we're trying to do is we're just trying to, before we just instinctively reach for what we call that comfort food, right? Again, emotional eating. But before we do that, before we go down that road, when we just identify the types of situations when we're receiving those hunger signals from our body, but let's just really make sure that that's actually hunger. Would I eat some celery to satisfy that feeling? And if the answer is no, then hey, it's possible that it's something else. It might be because you're stressed. It might be because you're bored. Maybe you're happy, sad, whatever. But you know what? The cupcakes at the end of the day, they don't support you, right? That sweet siren call of the sugary goodness. It's, when you give into it, all it creates is this vicious cycle. And it's very like when you give into it, you give your power to it. You give your power away. When you are in control of your own decisions and you recognize what's going on, you recognize that when you just don't do it, that you gain so much power from that. And that, my friends, is really how you create motivation, right? Motivation is BS. You can't, what are you going to open a can of motivation and, sugar-free motivation from the gas station? That doesn't exist. It's not out there. Trust me, if it was, everyone would know about it. I would tell you in the videos. It doesn't exist. The feeling of motivation, you know what that comes from? It comes from momentum. You got to get doing something. You got to start getting some wins. And so that's really what it's about at the end of the day. Get some wins. once you like, you hear the cupcakes are calling you, you hear the call, maybe even the cupcakes are there, you see them, but you just don't do it, right? Go to sleep on that and wake up the next day. Man, that's a powerful feeling. Having said no to those cupcakes, saying no is a really powerful thing. And yeah, the invitation is just to give that a try. Just go to sleep on it one time. Wake up the next day, and it's a different feeling than when you say, and you just give into it, right? And hey, we've all done it. How many times have I been there? So I'm telling, this is a personal story, right? I'm not pointing the finger at anyone else. But man, I just want you to feel that feeling of winning and just ride that for a little while and see what happens. And you might be surprised. So when you do win, I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to help you lose some weight. Love to help you win. Thanks for watching the video. If you like this, let me know. If it sucked, let me know. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, comments, all that. Love you guys. Peace.